Want to hit some of the big games this weekend and give you some betting thoughts. Biggest game of the weekend. I mean, this is just a September early season 5-star banger. 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome with Georgia and Alabama. Kirby Smart against Kalen DeBoer. Nick Saban now on the sidelines. Not technically like the Alabama sideline, like the sidelines as in he's not coaching anymore. Georgia, about a 1.5-point favorite in this game. And the more I think about this game, I think a lot of people have brought up this week, and in the last few weeks, Georgia very nearly losing to Kentucky a couple weeks ago as a reason to maybe like Alabama in the game. And a point spread's basically a coin flip. I understand people that would like Alabama. I go back to the season opener where Georgia stuffed Clemson in a locker like a 5-star, like a swirly for Clemson in that game from Georgia. Fast forward now a couple weeks, end of September, Clemson's kind of the team du jour. Offense looks unstoppable. Destroyed NC State last week. Georgia made them look silly earlier this season. And I know look-aheads are like whatever. You can't bet a lot of money into them, but they can be, like a decent talking point for conversation on a sports betting show. And just as a frame of reference, Georgia was going to be more than a 3-point favorite in this game. Now we said Georgia minus 1.5. I think Bama can win, obviously, like I said. Betting market's a coin flip. I think anything below 3, I'm going to like Georgia in the game. Give me Kirby Smart. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs. And I expect Carson Beck to outplay Jalen Milroe on Saturday. I like Georgia against Alabama in the game of the day, the game of the weekend, and the game of the early season in college football. What do you have for us here with Georgia and Alabama? Where do we stand side and total? Any movement here on this game throughout the week?
Yeah, so right now it looks like we're a Georgia 1.5-point favorite. Actually, the total went up a little bit. It was like 48.5 earlier, and now it's 49.50, which there might be weather impact in this game. Clearly, people don't think the weather's going to have too much of an impact because it keeps going up. So we're around 50, 49.5 with the total. I don't have a bet yet in this game. I mean, I basically have Milroe Heisman. I have Milroe Heisman, so I basically have Alabama money line. So the one stat I thought was interesting, we talked about this earlier, it's like since 2020, like Kirby Smart's 1-3 against Alabama and 52-1 against everybody else. And also those Alabama teams had Nick Saban. Obviously, Nick Saban's not coaching this. So Kirby Smart, pretty good against everybody else other than Nick Saban. Georgia, the future probably NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year favorite in like a year or two, Michael Williams. His status isn't questioned. He played one game this year, so we don't really know if he's going to play in this game. So my thoughts on this game is I don't have a bet yet. I'm leaning towards Alabama. Besides the first half of the USF game, Alabama's looked awesome. Totally destroyed Wisconsin on the road. I think Alabama actually has a pretty decent matchup here in the passing game. Georgia's secondary is weaker than usual. Malachi Starks is a future first-round pick. He's one of the best safeties in the country. But outside of that, it's kind of a question mark for Georgia. Like some of these passing concepts he's been cooking up have been having guys wide open. Ryan Williams, their receiver, I don't feel like has been touched in any of these games so far this year. I don't have a bet yet, but I'm kind of interested in Alabama. Kind of want to see if we can get a better point spread here. I feel like Georgia's getting a little buyback here. I see -2, so maybe we wait and get a better number with Alabama. But right now, no bet. I think Milroe has a chance to have a decent day through the air.
All right, so Tyler leaning towards Alabama. Femi, where are you leaning towards? So you're going to have a bet for this game coming up with Georgia and Bama on Saturday.
Yeah, I kind of lean towards the Georgia Bulldogs in this game. And then real quick, that Michael Williams dude that Tyler talked about, like he looks like an action figure. Like that guy is like this wingspan that's like the size of the equator. It's insane what these dudes are, the recruits that Georgia gets every single year. Like he's going to be like probably a top 5 pick in the draft. But I lean towards Georgia because Kirby has dominated everyone not named Nick Saban. And I really do have a lot of respect for Kalen DeBoer. Like I'm a Washington Husky fan. Last couple of years in Seattle, DeBoer was outstanding. He's a really good big game coach. Went toe-to-toe with Dan Lanning, beat Dan Lanning at Oregon every single time. Like he is legitimate. And now he has a really talented team with Alabama. And I'm certain in 5 years, they're going to be even better. But right now, I think Georgia has the better football team. Like Carson Beck, I can at least trust that he's not going to turn the ball over. Now, he's not going to make the dynamic plays that Jalen Milroe is going to make in these tight games, which is where I would typically lean when it's a coin flip sort of situation. I think Milroe has the potential to be the best player on the field. But I think that Georgia, what they have in the trenches and just how talented that roster is, it's hard to go against Kirby Smart and say, I'm going to take the other side. So I'm going to roll with the Georgia Bulldogs. Haven't bet it yet, but that's where I lean right now at 1.5. We'll see where the market goes. But I anticipate having a Georgia ticket in my pocket for sometime before kickoff.
What's the best guess, guys, as to where we think like the line closes? Anyone have like a confident guess? And it can be a guess. This could be pencil, not pen.
This was 4.5 a couple weeks ago. So, and in Georgia, there are some -2. So I would think maybe 2.5. I don't know if we'll ever get a 3, but I would say 2.5 is
No.
probably the ceiling here.
Yeah, I think like Bama would probably. I'd want to bet Bama +3, and I like Georgia in the game just because I feel like that would be a valuable number. I thoughts about it in the open. I like Georgia. I expect Carson Beck to play really well in this game. I think Carson Beck's going to outplay Jalen Milroe coming up on Saturday. Give me Georgia to win the game. Georgia to cover the spread against Alabama. Tyler, let's go to your boys, Colorado, where I feel like every time I bet Colorado, I get it wrong. So wrong. I feel like I may be done betting Colorado games. What do we have here with Colorado visiting a UCF team that feels like it's rolling well right now under Gus Malzahn? UCF and Colorado, Tyler, in Florida.
UCF, we gave them out to win the Big 12 at 8-1 before the season, so they're cooking. We love where we're standing right now. The spread right now is 14. The total is actually, they're kind of all over the place. We have like 61.5 to 63. A couple interesting things in this game. UCF has 1 sack this season. They have 1 more sack than all of us. Like I never played defensive end. That's not great for this defensive line. We all know Colorado struggles. They cannot protect Shedeur Sanders. I feel like in this game, they will have an easier time doing it. KJ Jefferson, he's been in college football forever. He has 32 completed passes in 3 games. So we know what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball a ton. I'm kind of interested in the over in this game. This, I think, has like real bloodbath potential if Colorado can't stop the run. UCF should have no problem scoring in this game. And so I have no bet on the side. I kind of like the over a little bit. If Shedeur is going to get protected, he should be able to light this defense up. I like his passing yards prop at over 301 yards. If Colorado is going to keep playing like they are, they're playing a lot better these past few games. I think they could score some points. I just also think UCF is going to score a ton. So I lean towards the over in this game.
I said it to start. I get every Colorado game wrong. I don't even want to speak here. So Tyler likes the over. Femi, anything for you on UCF Colorado?
Yeah, come to me, the guy who liked the over in the Colorado-Nebraska game, and that landed on 38. For me, I do think that this is going to be like one of the better live betting sort of games. Like, I agree with Tyler. Like, if UCF can run the football, it's lights out, good night. They're going to run them off the field because UCF in week 1, 454 rush yards. Week 2 against Sam Houston, 384. Then last week, or rather 2 weeks ago against TCU, 289 yards. So, like, this is what they want to do. It's a Gus Malzahn offense. They want to run the football. But Colorado, they've actually been pretty solid against the run. Now, factor in the opponents. The most rushing yards they've given up is, I believe, 166 against Baylor last Saturday in that miracle win against the Bears. I think that you're going to learn early on, like the first couple possessions, how this game's going to go. If Colorado was able to hold up against the run, I think they're going to be very competitive. And at that point, I think you want to be live betting good Buffaloes. But if Colorado gets ran off the field in that first couple possessions, you see KJ Jefferson, all these guys run the football, and it looks like it's seamless, it's going to be over. I think at that point, I would even lay a worse number with UCF. So I'm not going to bet this pre-flop. I'm going to wait in-game, first couple possessions, see how things look, and at that point, determine what I'm going to do at the window. So for me, live bet the situation. Colorado stops the run. It's Colorado. If UCF runs all over them, I think the Knights just kill them.
Next game for Mr. Knish. I hope we're on the same side of this one. I talked about in the open of the show that I like Penn State to lay it on Jake's Illini this weekend. Drew Aller and the Nittany Lions, 17.5-point favorites against Illinois. We all saw Illinois last Friday beat Dylan Raiola and Nebraska, 47.5 the total. Knish, what about Penn State and Illinois?
Oh, I'm with you, baby. Hashtag we are. Listen, a couple weeks ago, Illinois beat Kansas in the flukiest effort. 3 turnovers for Kansas. A bad Kansas team, 3 turnovers. Illinois somehow able to pull it out. Last week against, the next Mahomes, Dylan Raiola, they're losing significantly. They get a couple of fortunate bounces. Raiola misses a wide-open TD to win the game there. They get another overtime victory. This week, the champagne runs dry, if you know what I'm saying. They go into Happy Valley, a Penn State team that I think is not only live to obviously smash them this week, live to beat Ohio State, live to win the Big Ten. They're going to get buried. If you wonder why Kansas's offense also isn't good anymore, it's because their OC is now their former OC is now the OC at Penn State and has them rolling. Think Penn State absolutely destroys Illinois. I feel bad for Jake. I don't feel bad for Jake. I just want to make money. Let's cash it here with Penn State to put it on Illinois here by at least 3 touchdowns.
I would also like to go on record as saying I do not feel bad for Jake. I also love Kanish's commitment to saying Illinois every single time. Every single time he talks about them, which is great. All right. Biggest game of the weekend in college football. Biggest game on the young season. Georgia visiting Alabama. I should have had like a joke prepared there. Like Middle Tennessee, like Charlotte and Rice. Georgia and Bama. Georgia currently a 1.5-point favorite. 49.5 the total. Kanish, I'm going to bet Georgia in this game. What are you betting, if anything, with Georgia and Bama?
No, I'm with you. It'll take a little time. I mean, this is one that's been open for throughout the summer. It's kind of gone back and forth between -1 and -2.5. You have people that like it, Bama closer to 3, like Georgia closer to pick. I'm with you. I lean Georgia. Coming out of if you can get -1.5, -2, depending on where you shop. I think you're getting the more physical team, the team that has a little bit more talent. And again, it's not your Kalen DeBoer, the greatest ATS coach in the history of college football. Like what he's doing, think he gets Bama back to the pinnacle. But for this year, this game, I just don't think that Bama's going to be able to have enough. I think old school Georgia football, they kind of are able to overwhelm Bama a little bit in the trenches, where I think they're light. Give me the dogs here. Think Georgia. I think this might be the last year of Kirby's run here until DeBoer gets Bama back on track. But I think this year just don't have enough all around to beat Georgia.